Here we go. Let's hear what he has to say, shall we?
But the company turned around prior losses in its streaming business, reporting a profitable quarter. Joining us now for an exclusive interview, David Zaslav, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO. I looked at the stock, not a lot going on, nothing like Paramount Global, which I don't know whether you noticed yesterday.
We all have a lot going.
But after seeing that, I mean, I was interested in how WBD was going to perform in relation to that. And at least as far as streaming goes, it's like a pretty big difference in what you've been able to accomplish. And I've read the articles in the Wall Street Journal, sort of accolades saying you realized something a year ago with streaming, and now everyone is coming around to the same realization. I don't know whether I'd say it's not everything it's cracked up to be, but certainly there are very high hopes for it, and you need to be more realistic near term.
Well, look, streaming is a tough business, and we had a different idea. Our streaming business should stand alone, and it should be profitable and meaningfully profitable. We have the largest TV library.
There's something special about the graphic right beside him showing like this massive fucking drop. As he's talking about how great and how good they're all doing. Amazing.
The largest motion picture library, we have global content, and our streaming business was losing a lot of money. So this was a meaningful turn for us. Right. We made $50 million in EBIT on our streaming business this quarter. We said that the streaming business would be profitable next year, right. And we announced today that our streaming business will be profitable this year in the U.S. And so our U.S. streaming business is no longer a bleeder.
Wow, congratulations. Your business is doing so well, which means you have absolutely zero fucking excuse to not pay the people working for you a minimum living wage, then, you piece of human garbage.
Which is a big deal. And on the other side of the ledger, our focus has been, if we have some of the greatest IP in the world, and we're a global diversified company, we need to generate free cash flow.
If you have the greatest IP in the world and you can't write worth shit, you're not gonna do well. You can have, like, some of the best designed, best looking shit, historically the best shit you have ever fucking seen on the planet. But if you don't have any writers to actually utilize those things and utilize them in a compelling and interesting way, what you have is a pile of shit. Congratulations. Good for you, you greedy motherfucker.
A fair amount of debt. We're converting that debt to equity by paying it down. And so we're on track to meet our free cash flow numbers for this year. So by the end of the year, we'll be below 4 times levered. And
are you still on track? So end of 24, you're supposed to be down under 3, right? 2.5? That's where you want to be?
We'll be less than 4 times levered this year.
Okay.
And then our goal is to continue to delever, which we will. This company has real free cash flow. We're a diversified company. We have our streaming business in the U.S., which is now profitable. We're going to roll.
Can you tell someone is bullshitting when they get asked a direct question and then they just repeat themselves in a circle to avoid the question that they were just asked? That was a yes or no question, by the way.
Roll that out around the world. And then we have our traditional business. We're the largest maker of content in the world. Our Warner Brothers TV business generates over 110 of the shows, Shrinking and, Abbott Elementary. So, look, it's a very difficult time in this business. The advertising market is a challenge. We expected it would be, but we've been hyper-focused on our balance sheet and hyper-focused on taking advantage of the fact that we have great content.
Big news right now in the media landscape in Hollywood is the writer's strike.
Right.
How do you...
Whose content is it again? All these shows that he's got? Who put the work into those? Was it this fucking guy? No, I don't think so. But, you gotta cater to these small dick CEOs and ask your questions nice enough with enough respect. Because if you don't, they're just gonna throw a hissy fit and, stomp away like little baby bitch boys.
I think that you just talked about all the great programming you have. How do you think the writer's strike is going to impact you? There's some people who could argue that it could from a profit perspective, be actually quite beneficial, at least temporarily.
Well, look, we're a pure storytelling company, and we've been fighting to get the greatest creatives to come work at Warner Brothers. We have all the assets. We got this incredible library of IP. We have a diversified portfolio.
You keep fucking up all DC.
Create great storytelling. We need great writers.
Right.
And we need the whole industry to work together. And everybody deserves to be paid fairly. So our number one focus is, let's try and get this resolved. Let's do it in a way that the writers feel that they're valued, which they are, and they're compensated fairly. And then off we go. Let's tell great stories together.
You're too late for the strike.
I mean, that's a great and all, and I will give this guy one thing, is that the union isn't only talking to Warner Brothers, right? Because we looked at the union paperwork last time. When we looked at the union paperwork, they were talking to Netflix and Warner Brothers and Disney as a group, not just as individuals, right? But, so to be fair to Warner Brothers the whole, but also you'll notice that it's not like one of them said something different than the other from the chart we were looking at to say, here's what we proposed, they rejected the proposal and gave none. We proposed this, they rejected the proposal. They gave this, they rejected the proposal. So if he wants it resolved, why would he not bring forward a counter argument? It's almost like he's just full of shit. He's putting on a performance, right, to give himself some good PR. Fucking lying motherfucker. There's no reason, it's been over a week now, there's literally no reason why they couldn't have brought something to the table by this point. Especially with, they have all the best resources, they have everything that any writer could want. And we want to fight for them, we want to bring them to work with us. We just want to pay them in dirt and exposure.
It would have been nicer when we thought that we were going to grow forever in terms of content and streaming. I thought it was like the greatest time in the world to be a writer like a year and a half ago. Now, I mean, things are tight now.
Not now, especially not a year and a half ago. If you want to talk about things being, it's been this way. Like, strikes don't just happen because, things got a little bit shitty all of a sudden. Strikes happen when there's a gradual downshift, and you try and you try and you try, you get nothing. That's when you get a strike. So this complete misrepresentation of the situation from this fucking asshole can suck my nads.
Are they not? And we got a recession perhaps on the horizon. Tough time to be negotiating.
Well, the advertising market is tough, but people are consuming more content than they ever have.
Right.
The quality of the
fuck does
writer-
that have to do with the advertiser market? And you already said this. You're repeating yourself. We're not talking about the advertiser market. We're talking about what you, Mr. Guy who owns fucking a huge portion of this big-ass conglomerate entertainment industry, are going to do to put your money where your mouth is when you appreciate your fucking writers so much who make the product that you are selling and making all your fucking money off of. You're a lying piece of shit. Suck a dick. I hope your company gets broken up into a bunch of different pieces so the writers actually have some kind of leverage and somewhere that they can go that's not you. Fuck you.
And the storytelling is as good or better than it's ever been. And so I think it's a good time to.
And so we're not going to pay them. It's as this dude actually thinks that the writers are doing better work and the entertainment industry has been putting out a better product than they ever have been. And when it's like, hey, can we have a minimum for this? No. Hey, can we have a minimum for this? No. Hey, can we have a minimum for this? No. But you're doing the best you've ever done. You guys are doing great. Our writers, they're the best. We have the best writers. Our writers are the best. I know, I need this gold toilet seat. Thank you. Fuck this guy.
Pointed out some companies are glad that writers are on strike because they don't have to. I mean, it's such a.
Well, the question I think
we're not glad.
People are
We're not glad.
spending so much
there's a
money.
real divide
Save
though,
some money.
between where the studios are and where the writers are right now. And so what is the trigger that actually puts them back together besides just time?
I think a lot.
Shut the fuck up, you fucking powdered up corpse. Jesus Christ. Pay them money. This is not difficult. Stop trying to pretend this is such like, oh, well, these guys have this opinion and these guys have this opinion. How do we possibly get them on this? And pay them money. Pay them money. Money. Mr. We've made so much and we're all in the green now. Look how great we are. We're doing so good and we're projected to do so good. Oh, but we can't pay writers. No, sorry. No. Pay them. Actually negotiate the terms. And you know what? You want to do you want to look good? You want to do like a solid? Since you're projecting to be on such a good course, give them more than what they were asking for. They asked for 25%, you give them 30. They ask for 10%, you give them 15. You want to convince them to come and work for you? And these are like, hey, these are the bare bones minimums we need. You go above and beyond for them, just like you just said they've been doing for you. That's how you do that. You're fucking welcome. I solved your problem. I hate your face.
For working. We all came into this business because we love storytelling. We want to entertain, and when we're at
I don't
our
believe
best,
this guy for a second that that's the reason he does
have an impact
this.
on the culture. That's why, almost all of us got into this business, with a lot
Almost all of us. Not me.
of sacrifice in order to be part of that journey.
What?
And so
What do you guys? What has this guy sacrificed? What sacrifice has David over here made?
That's what's going to bring us together.
Becky has a question. Becky's got a question for you.
Hi, Becky.
Yeah. Hey, David. Great to see you. Just on the strike.
I like how unimpressed she seemed. Yeah, hey, alright, what do you... I hope this lady, nails him to a wall.
There are a lot of people from Hollywood who actually come out here, too. I was talking to a few of them last night. And the issues around this really have to do with streaming and with digital. And if streaming's not going to be as profitable and the writers now feel like they're not going to get as much of a cut, they're not going to get paid in the same way, is there any flexibility around that? Because the last time the writers went on strike, they were out for 100 days. The terms that they eventually signed were worse than the original offer that had been put on the table. If you're telling us that streaming's not as profitable, but the writers feel like, hey, they're not making the money because they're not getting paid the same way they used to with the repeats or any of the different things that are out there, is there flexibility on that point?
This is an interesting question. I'm not the biggest fan of the phrasing, specifically because there is no minimum right now. So, and it's not on the writer's, it's not the writer's job to sell the product. If you work a minimum wage job, right? If you work for McDonald's, right? And you get paid by the hour. So no matter what happens at the store or how much money that store actually makes, you get paid by the hour. Doesn't matter. So I'm not the biggest fan of her framing it the way she is, because it seems to be a little bit loaded in his favor, which, I don't know, we'll see what he says, I guess.
Well, one, we think streaming is going to be very profitable for us. We are unique. We have a lot of scale. We have the largest TV and motion picture library, and we have HBO, some of the greatest creatives, and we have all of our Discovery.
HBO Discovery merged with Warner because of this guy. Their merger was ridiculous. It should have never gone through.
Content. So for us, we think it will be very profitable. We've said we'll make over $1 billion in 25. And
because I've been building a monopoly over the last decade.
We thought we would be. Having said that, the industry is in the middle of some significant disruption, and people are changing the way they consume content. And so it's very difficult to figure out, how does that work? What's the right value for it? And so I think it's fair that we're trying to figure out, when it was just everyone consumed content on a TV set, and it was a model that existed for 50 years, it was very easy to figure out where's the value and how do we carve it up fairly.
That doesn't answer the question. She asked if it was negotiable. And you went on this nonsense. And he repeats himself so much, probably because he's bullshitting and doesn't want to actually tackle this.